Hey everybody, happy Monday, Feliz Lunes, Feliz Segunda-feira. I hope everyone had a great weekend. My weekend was okay, some goods, some bads. Overall a good weekend for several reasons. One of which kind of is going to spurn what I'm going to talk about today. So what did I do today? I did trap bar deadlift. Did not do deficit. I did them in heels to get a little bit more quad activation, to get my knees a little bit further forward. So I did that on purpose, but kept it light at 300 pounds, 5 sets of 5. And I'm going to keep it there for a while. These RPE 5 sets on Mondays, 5-ish. It's tough to judge RPE 5. To be honest, it's kind of a mushy thing at that point. But I'm going to keep it in this low fatigue realm and just kind of coast that for a bit. That's helping my shoulder. It already feels a little bit better. And I think I just need some time to kind of integrate, to recuperate. So yeah, did that. Went fine. And on the video, you're going to see that the sets actually get faster, which is one of the indicators that I kind of doing it right. That it's heavy enough, but I'm kind of still warming up through the sets. So that was good. Then I humbled myself trying to do like these, Bulgarian split squat, Hatfield safety squat bar kind of squats, which you'll see on tape. Completely humbled it, and I did them just with the barbell. So, one foot back up on a bench, the other foot in front, that's going to be the squatting foot. Then I had one arm on the rack and another one to stabilize the bar, and I'm trying to get as much ROM as possible, and I'm not getting anywhere near what I think I'm getting, and it was just a mess, and it was humbling, but it was good, because I forget how humbling unilateral work can be. So I did 5 sets of 5 at that, 5 per leg, humbled myself, probably to the point of humiliation. And then after that, I did, for like a warm down, cool down kind of thing, I did 1 set of 10 of paused goblet squats with the 20 kilogram kettlebell on the Bosu ball. So that was the thing. I like that thing for just getting a nice deep stretch, really working the ROM and, kind of taking it easy. That was good. So kind of the one thing I want to talk about today, based on a friend's experience in a completely different realm, but I'm going to extrapolate it into the world of training, of barbell training. And so anyone who's been paying attention knows that, one, barbell training is kind of waning, and I'm fine with that. But if you're familiar with the scene 10, 15 years ago, it was really on this meteoric rise, gaining a ton of popularity. Kind of a couple books came out. Wendler had a book. Ripito had a book. CrossFit was driving it. Then the advent of, Instagram and people, with these short form videos posting it, and it kind of had a little bit more eye time, I think, with Instagram. And just, people posting impressive lifts and people saying, yeah, I want to do that. And so this big explosion of barbell training. And where's that going to take me? So a lot of people get competitive with that, right? Because you're chasing numbers, and that's cool. And so they want to get better. And, you can only get so good on your own. You need other knowledge. You need to figure out yourself, and you need to kind of know what other people are doing to get good and what their tips and tricks are, as it were. So around that time, especially around 2014, 2015, 2016, the whole idea of like this online coaching started to really become a thing with people, send me your videos, because we had a bandwidth then to send videos over, personal electronic devices. And, people had these templates drawn up and, all this kind of stuff, and starting to kind of make this a thing. But I think, from my own experience with just helping a few people do programming from afar and just doing a couple random form checks, to be a good online coach takes way too much time. I would think if I had like 10 to 20 clients a week, my weeks would be way too full with looking at videos and writing out programs and trying to figure things out for the individual. Because I think that you need to tailor everything to the individual, because we all have different, genetics, medical history, prior training history, whatever, right? Everyone basically gets to be pretty unique at a point, along with their attitude towards training and whatever else. So, I think the uniqueness of the lifter is what makes that kind of gig really tough, that you got to really craft a plan and look at things per the individual level, and you need a time history to do that as well. So it's a tough job. But there's a ton of online coaches for a while. And my opinion is that most of them were not doing the job because they were just, hey, you did the sets, you did the reps, not paying a ton of attention, what is the barbell velocity increasing across the set? Is it decreasing? What's happening to form? What do your other sets look like? How are you feeling in between? What's the time interval in between? There's that stuff. Then it's like, how are you feeling after each session? What do you want to do in the future? How are joints feeling? So you got to have this holistic idea of like, what's the training look like? What is the future programming going to look like? Where do we want to go? What does nutrition look like? All the stuff that becomes really important after, roughly about 6 to 12 months of training. I think, those things start to get really tough. And so I see it in other realms too, right? Where, people start some sort of treatment, whatever it may be. And a lot of times the basics work. Do these basic things, these basic approaches, but after a while it gets really, really tough. And to be a good coach, you got to really pay a lot of attention. You got to look at that barbell velocity. You got to look at the form. You got to think about what the person's got coming up in their own life. Like, do they have vacations coming up? What do they really want to get out of this? Do they want to start heading back towards aesthetics? Do they want to start cutting? And having these honest conversations with people, and also in some cases saying, listen, it's not for you. You're not going to bench 405 ever, but we can get you to 315. And that's a good thing. That still puts you at this, very small percentile at the top of humans in existence kind of thing. But yeah, it's all about really focusing on the individual. And it's tough. And it's a hard job. That's why I think there's so few really good coaches out there. And in order to get really good coaching, you got to go see them. And the really good coaches, you'll go see them, a handful of times. And they're going to equip you with the ability to say, okay, this is how you need to think about your training. This is how you need to think about your programming. Potentially, this is how you need to think about your nutrition as well. And how you're going to put that package together and how you need to tailor things and what variables you can change and doing all that work. And then you'll figure it out on your own. But there's not a lot of individuals out there that are really good at that. And so you got to seek them out and you got to pick their minds and you got to talk to them. And you got to, you really have to put in some time to figure yourself out by asking other people questions. And there are good resources online for that too. Like RTS has a lot of videos. I'm not sure where that's at right now, like if you're having to pay for them or not, but I know that, Mike T used to put out a ton of great stuff. There's some really good stuff out there, but it's going to take a lot of investment on your time out there to learn all these things, all these knobs and switches and all the stuff that you can fiddle with in terms of training. And then you're going to have to experiment. And the experimentation is hard and it takes time and you have to be honest with yourself. And it's a tough process. It really, really is a tough process. Training's not easy. And it takes a lot of commitment and it takes a lot of grind. But in the end, that builds a ton of character. And I think from my own personal experience, having done this for decades now and made a lot of silly mistakes that I'm still paying for, chasing numbers I shouldn't have chased, pushing myself too far when I shouldn't have, I still enjoy coming into the gym and getting a little bit better in some way every single session. Learning something new about myself, even though sometimes it's really, really small. I mean, I'm over 50. I shouldn't be learning too much new about myself, but I still am. How am I feeling today? What did I do today that maybe helped or harmed the session that I'm in now? What should I be doing next session? How should I be thinking about my training in the future? Like today I was like, well, man, I was looking at some stuff online with the unilateral work. And I said, man, I really do need to integrate some of that. And I did it, and man, it was humbling. I had a very grand vision of what it was going to look like. Like I was going, okay, I'm going to set this thing up and I'm just going to do some split squats. I'm going to use the safety squat bar, hold on to the handles, and maybe load up some weight, maybe a 45 on each side, something like that. Man, no, I didn't even get close to that. It was a mess. And I'm going to have to try it again. And I have to be honest with myself, like, hey, this is something you've neglected. You've neglected unilateral work. You've been doing some balance work. The Bosu ball was easy, but that's a different skill than unilateral work. I need to do unilateral work. And I know that that's the case because I haven't been doing lunges or anything else like that either. So I learned something about myself. I've been a little bit lazy, and I need to stop neglecting that aspect of training too. So anyhow, I'm going to wrap this up. But in the end, what's important is that we put in the effort, we go find the right people, and we hold those people accountable as well so that we can improve ourselves in the gym, improve ourselves physically, and just get better overall at what we want to do. And I think if we can figure that out, we'll be in pretty good shape. And everyone's goals are going to be their own unique goals. They don't all need to be the same. When it comes to like powerlifting, not everyone actually needs to compete. Just having a good set of 5, or just feeling good about yourself, or just, hey, I can pick this up now and not be winded. All those goals are different, and all those goals are equally good. So with that, I'm going to shut up now. Let anyone who's still listening carry on with their day. And happy Monday. Feliz lunes. Feliz segunda-feira. And don't forget, get into those gyms, hit those goals, and get swole. Peace.